Hello, this is G.I. Joshua, and today we're going to be looking at my top 10 action figures in my collection. You might hear kind of an electronic humming sound. That's a really loud air conditioner, and I'm going to need it on if I'm working up here because it's very hot, so I'll try to speak loudly so you can hear me. The figures aren't in any kind of order, so I'm going to remove them hopefully. Maybe not. I won't remove them because there's a good chance they'll all come toppling down while I'm talking, and I want to do this in one shot. So we're going to go over the top 10 figures and why they may be in that position over other things that I own or what sentimental value they may hold. So, without further ado, we'll get started. The first, number 10, is on the end, so I guess they are kind of in an order, would be Super 7 Doc. And that would be this figure right here, which hopefully you can see my hand behind him. I almost knocked him all over. And the reason I like him so much is fairly sentimental and less about why it's a good figure. Because to be honest, he's actually the worst of my Super 7 figures. The reason I chose him is because when I was in the Army from 2012 to 2016, I was a combat medic. And I actually, on my last day, got a 3 3/4 figure still in the box, signed by my whole platoon. I'm not going to explain why, but I don't have it anymore. And so getting this figure was really, really special to me because it kind of gave me that same feeling back that that signed figure did. So now I have this Doc figure that is fine, I guess. He just had like probably 10 QC issues, which isn't totally common with action figures, and it's not totally common with Super 7, but he's just kind of got them. But as far as a combat medic action figure, it's really special to me, and he's a fair representation of what the other G.I. Joes in the line are like. So, moving on is another sentimental figure that isn't particularly great, but still holds a lot of value to me. That would be this. Let's see if I can. Hopefully you see him a little better. It's a Toy Biz Captain America figure. And I'll even hold him up. Hopefully, I'll check. Oh, yeah, you can kind of see him. This figure is a figure I had as a kid. I'm 29 years old, so when I was a kid, Toy Biz was really popular with their Marvel Legends line, and he came in a 2-pack with Red Skull, and I remember having the best time with him. This is not the original figure I had from my childhood, but when I found him in a store, I had to pay the $25 and get him. He's still an impressive figure. He has articulating hands like your own. Each finger moves. You can make him give the middle finger, which is always fun. He can't grip his weapon, or a weapon, too well, but it was still a cool feature that the figures had at the time. He has double-jointed knees, double-jointed elbows, and even a shield with rubber straps that he can hold on to his back. So that is why that figure is there. It is not because he's one of the best, but simply because he means the most, which I think is fair. And he's standing okay. And while I'm standing up, I'll go ahead and say number 7, which actually is number 8. I'm trying to skip him. Number 8 is going to be Michelangelo from the Super 7 line. And look at these nunchucks. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo. And he has these real metal nunchucks. Michelangelo is not my favorite of the Turtles, but I really do enjoy his design. All the Turtles could have been in this place, but because he has these metal nunchucks that are just so fun to swing around, I can't help but put him in the number 8 spot. So, moving to number 7, I'm going to go ahead and say this Black Series Darth Vader. And hopefully you can see him. I can't really tell if you can. You can see him enough. This figure is really special. I have been waiting my whole life for an action figure that simply does this. The helmet comes off, but not only that, the mask, hopefully you can see it, the mask and the helmet come apart and can be assembled just like in the scene in Return of the Jedi. And to me, that is something I had wanted since I was a little kid. And the fact that this figure had it was really cool. And I know they've made a new one since then that's probably better. But this one is so special to me because I just always wanted that, and they did it perfectly. So that is Darth Vader at number 7. Number 6, I'm going to go with Tiberius from the Animal Warriors of the Kingdom line by, I think it's Sparrow Toys. These are wonderful figures. I've never seen better joints and articulation come together to create just a wonderful line. When I was a kid, I had the Realm of the Claw series made by Stan Winston, and those were animal characters with weapons and, you know, mystical abilities, and they were just so cool. And so this guy really reminds me of that, and that is why he is the number 7 spot. Actually, it's number 6. My bad. It's hard to remember while I'm talking. So next, let's see, we'd be at number 5. Are we already there? We're at number 5. We're going to go with... This is a tough one. I'm going to go with this Jabba the Hutt. We'll see if I can pick him up without knocking everybody else over. Oh, there goes Captain America. And you know what? I'm going to lay Tiberius down, because I don't think I'm going to be able to get him back down. So he's going to lay down for now. Here is Jabba the Hutt. And you might notice mine looks a little bit better than the Black Series one. Well, the reasons that is this Black Series Jabba the Hutt, I custom painted this. I custom painted every one of them, and most of them looked pretty bad. But for some reason, this Jabba the Hutt turned out really good. And I still stand by that this is the best Jabba the Hutt I've ever seen. Because the sculpt was there, it just needed a wash and some work. And after that, you know, he looks really great. And I'm just amazingly happy with this figure and how it turned out. And he will always remain one of my favorite toys that I will never get rid of. So we've got 4 left that haven't been mentioned. Maybe you can tell which ones those are. I'm going to go ahead and go with... he's really cool. I'm going to go with Bebop. This is Bebop from the Ninja Turtles Super 7 line. And frankly, he is gorgeous. This is a gorgeous figure. He's so impressive. He's so much bigger than these other figures. And the paint on that snout, had to have it. I just think it's a beautiful figure. He's fun. He can use Rocksteady's accessories, such as this machine gun. And he is just awesome. Look at that pink hair, if you can see that nicely. Hopefully you can. You can. This is really one of the best figures I've ever owned, and I just really like it. Alright, we've got our top 3. So the top 3, we're going to go ahead and go with another Animal Warriors of the Kingdom. This is a, I think Centurion Warrior, I think. But I kind of tricked him out and gave him 2 guns, and then I bought the set of heads that included face paint, and hopefully you can see that really cool face paint that he has. And, you know, I just call him Koba because he's basically Koba from the Planet of the Apes series, the Rise of the Planet of the Apes series. And he's just incredibly cool. He's got the shield on his back, 2 machine guns, gold reflecting armor, and that war paint, which just says he's not somebody you want to mess with, which, frankly, I just adore. So, the top 2, not to my surprise, are He-Man figures. So I'm going to go with number 2 is the Mattel 40th Anniversary He-Man. And hopefully you can see him. He's a very impressive figure. And frankly, the reason I like this one so much is just he's big, he's bulky, he's tall, he looks strong. This is exactly what we should see with a He-Man figure. Not to mention the amount of articulation. This is what a new Masters of the Universe Classics should look like. This is a perfect new edition of that. It's got all the articulation you could ever want, and it's at a nice, affordable price. I adore this figure. I bought him a Castle Grayskull and a Battle Cat just to display this figure. So I spent like an additional $70. I bought an original Castle Grayskull, put the Battle Cat coming out the door, and then put him on it. And that is why he is so special. He's just a fantastic figure. So you may have noticed that there's a figure sitting on the end, and that would be number 1. Number 1 is Vicron, or Vicor, whichever name you want to use for him. Same line as the last He-Man figure. This is the Mattel Masterverse line. I love Conan the Barbarian. I do, but I don't really like a lot of the toys that are available. When I saw this, I saw a way to have a cheap Conan the Barbarian within the He-Man universe. And to me, that is what playing is all about, is being able to have figures from another line be displayed together without issue. And because he looks so much like Conan, I really do see him as my Conan the Barbarian figure, to the point where I don't need to buy another. So this figure is my favorite because he has fur. That's real fur that you can like pet. He has the real fur. He's got good articulation. I actually ended up super gluing his weapons into his hands because that's how much I adore this figure. Is I just always want him holding his weapons. I decided to just have him keep them forever, and he does a good job with that. He's easy to pose. He came with a ton of accessories to make him all kinds of different designs other than just a barbarian, and I can't help but think this is an amazing action figure that works for Conan the Barbarian and works for the He-Man line. This is my favorite figure to date right now, and I've owned at least a couple thousand action figures at this point, and I have to say, there's something about this one that just works for me. It doesn't mean he's the best in the world, but as far as I'm concerned with what I've purchased and what I paid for him, this is the best figure I have. I adore this. He is awesome. I just want to get on the ground and play with him when I see him. I have to remind myself that I'm an adult and that I've grown up, but I don't want to. I just want to play with this thing and have him kick a lot of butt and defeat all these other guys. You know, he just has that, I'm a barbarian, I'm going to crush you look. So, that is my top 10 action figures in my collection to date. And I'm sure it will change very quickly. These figures, most of them have been acquired in the last 2 months or so. So it won't be long before some of these figures are surpassed. But as of right now, these are the top 10 action figures in my collection that I feel really proud to own. I like these. These are cool. I don't want to get rid of them. There'd have to be... I don't see anything coming out that would make me not want these. These are incredibly cool action figures. They're going to stand the test of time. And some of them hold sentimental value, and some of them are just awesome. And this Conan the Barbarian Vicor figure is just incredibly cool. I can't get enough of looking at him. I always put him in his own diorama, slaying some monster or fighting something. I just have to give him a special spot because how much I adore him. So that was my top 10 action figures. This was G.I. Joshua. Feel free to subscribe if you enjoyed the content. And if not, I don't feel any kind of way if you don't want to. That's okay. But this channel is going to continue talking about all of these different figures and the collections that they come from. So stay tuned if you want to see what these guys look like with full collections, dioramas, and how they turn out once you have spent a lot of money on them and built some kind of large collection. So this was G.I. Joshua. Thank you for listening. Goodbye.